Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast, Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Now streaming on all major podcast platforms. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a fireside chat with a special guest. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? And make sure you hit up the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. There is a merchandise tab. You can click on that, go in there, get you a cool shirt, something like that, maybe a hat, a mug, something like that. But go in there, and if you purchase something that helps and supporting us and getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Also, a big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing some amazing things. If you don't know anything about them, you need to go check them out at tillvalhallaproject.com. And I lost my commercial. Here it is. Okay, we're back.
Major Lee Stuckey. We've been blessed to bring in thousands and thousands of veterans and first responders and save hundreds from suicide. We don't want to be a handout, and we want to be a hand up with our four pillars, which are physical, financial, emotional, and for me, most importantly, spiritual, and give them a good, healthy foundation in a safe, sober environment for a 4-day event.
Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps veteran service organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member. And we're back. All right, I got Eric Ranks here, author, entrepreneur, motivational speaker. He's in all kinds of nonprofits as well. So I'm excited that you're here. We get to get into all that and find out what you got going on.
Yeah,
how you doing,
sure.
Eric?
I'm doing fantastic, and thank you for having me here, AJ. And also, a shout out to some of the partners that you mentioned on the beginning of this. I buy a lot of apparel from Valhalla Project, and also I do a lot of sponsoring the golf tournaments for the Marine Corps League. So
nice. Okay,
all those are close to my heart. So
yeah, those are both great organizations. Till Valhalla Project does some amazing work. I really like what they're doing, and of course, the Marine Corps League. You can't go wrong with the red hat and the red jacket and all that stuff. We're sporting it out pretty cool. In fact, I got a Marine Corps League thing. Although this is my the one that says I'm an ambassador, but I got a T-shirt on for it. So got to represent, man.
Absolutely, I love that.
Well, Eric, now you weren't in the military yourself. However, your father was in the military, so you grew up around it all the time, correct?
Yeah, my dad was in the Army during Vietnam and then transferred to the Air Force after Vietnam.
Oh, okay. So if you don't mind, I'd like to hear a little bit about your experiences. Not too long ago, it was Month of the Military Child, and you went through a lot of it. I'd like to hear a little bit of your take on, being a military child.
It had its pros and cons. Everybody always asks. In fact, you reached out and was asking about my service. There's two sides of the coin. Like I always say, hey, I didn't serve personally, but to some extent, every military family serves.
Yeah.
You're moving. You have your father, your mother away for a while. There's different aspects. You're living on base. Maybe you're lucky in living off base. So to an extent, the family serving too, just not in the same capacity. And there was pros and cons. Like I loved, like the Air Force. I loved the yearly Air Force shows.
Right. Yeah.
There was a lot of cool things, but also the negative is moving all the time. And,
Right.
uh, you know, the positive outlook I look at that is, I've gotten really good at making new friends and new connections because I had to, I
Very
went,
true. Yeah.
my dad retired. My dad retired out of the Air Force, and for some reason, we were still moving. And maybe it was just in his blood after that. I mean, I went to 4 high schools in 4 years, so where most
No
people
kidding.
and with their friends they grew up with, I had brand new friends my senior year. So
Wow. That's pretty wild. And so he was still moving even after,
yeah, I
you,
guess it was in
he
his
was,
blood from.
yeah, he's getting the itch to move.
And I'm really good at packing a moving truck.
What's that game? Tetris? You've been
Yeah,
able to, yeah, you
yeah,
got good at
I'm
that.
really good at that game.
I like it. Well, that's definitely a unique experience, being a military child. I feel sorry for my girls. They're young though, but in their short life, they've moved like 4 times. So, uh, the oldest one is 12, the other one's 10. So, 4 moves. It's been a good time for them. So,
It's awesome.
my hat's off to you. So,
Well, likewise. Thank you for your service.
yeah, and your dad must have done something right, because you are definitely very successful. I mean, you've written books, best-selling books as well. Do you want to talk about some of those?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I have co-authored 5 books. 4 of the 5 became international best-selling books. One of them, up at the top, also is an LA Tribune best-selling author. Made that status, which is actually a very small club. Like
Oh, wow.
there's a lot of Amazon international
Hmm.
bestsellers and things like that. There's actually a very small amount of people who have been accredited with LA Tribune's best-selling
No
authors.
kidding.
So
Wow.
that was very humbling, and it's interesting. So I'll tell you a little bit about like the whole writing thing. So
Okay.
what got me there? So I'm super dyslexic,
Hmm.
very high functioning, but super dyslexic. And I always thought I could never, like, I always wanted to write a book, but I always thought, no, I can't do that. I'm too dyslexic. Can't do it. And my dad was a clinical and neurological psychologist, and he was writing for the general public. No one would want to read it, but he was writing stuff in the neurological field, research and stuff that was super cutting edge.
Oh,
And
wow.
he passed away in 2019.
Mm.
And he'd written like this much, like it was massive. And he'd written that much,
Wow.
but it never got published. He didn't finish it, never got published. And I knew it was his dream to do that. And we donated the research that he had done and all that. But it was a real wake up call that, like, if I keep saying I want to do it, but I'm
Yeah.
scared, I just have to do it, because he started that project and never got to finish it. And so
Yeah.
that was actually kind of the driver that pushed me to do the first book, which was the Beyond Success with Eric Ranks. And it was just going through that with my father.
Yeah. That's very awesome. And now that you donated everything, but did it ever get published? Your
I
dad's
don't
stuff?
know. I don't know. My mom
Yeah.
donated it to a psychology research thing, and I don't know what ended up.
Right, right, right. Wow, that's really cool. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, to have a stack of stuff that big, I mean, that's bigger than most encyclopedias. I mean, that's a
It,
lot of
it
work.
was massive, but it was his lifelong research, and
Yeah.
and it's nothing I would ever wanted to read personally, but for people who are in that industry, yeah, I mean, my
Yeah.
dad was very well known across the country for what he was doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man, I like it. Well, I guess we can jump in and we'll kind of start talking about the nonprofits if you want to talk about those.
Sure. So let's start with the Veterans Connection, and kind of
Okay.
how it came about. So as I was growing up in the Air Force, at age 6, I was diagnosed with leukemia. And, we were living at that time on Loring Air Force Base, which is in the upper panhandle of Maine, up by Canada. Clinton closed the base during his administration, but it was the closest at the time nuclear base to Russia during the Cold War.
Oh, wow.
And so we had our nukes pointed at them, and they had their nukes pointed at that base. And we got up with nuclear drills. Not everybody grows up in school doing nuclear drills, but we did. So and from there, like, I had health issues like going through my whole life, and there was multiple stages that mental health was a real struggle for me. And times that I was super suicidal and tried to take my life, and the blessing of God, people for some reason happened to be around, show up at the right times. I needed it at the time, but now I'm thankful. I'm way past those days, but going through that, I guess it was around 2010, 2011 timeframe. Going through multiple health struggles, mental health, physical health. I had a bunch of buddies who come back from Iraq and Afghanistan, and they were really suffering with PTSD issues. And I was watching it affecting their careers, their marriages falling apart, just all kinds of things. And I was like, man, there's got to be something to be done. And so, I said to myself, and this will always be the case, like, I will never understand what they went through, what you went through. Like, I wasn't on the front line. I can't ever relate to that, but I can relate to physical and mental pain. And so I left corporate America and started the Veterans Connection. And at the original foundation of it, it's changed since then. But the original foundation was, let's help cut through the administrative red tape so vets can get access to the benefits that are due to them. People shouldn't have to hire outside people to help them get their benefits, and they shouldn't have to hire attorneys. It shouldn't take years to figure out their rating. It shouldn't. So that's what originally it was founded on, as well as to provide things that the VA didn't. So I'll give you an example of like a wheelchair. Like the VA will pay for a wheelchair, but they won't put a ramp on your vehicle. They won't put a ramp on your house. They won't pay for widening your doorways. Like, that's great. You got a wheelchair, but now what are you going to do with it? Like, there's a lot. And so that's kind of where we originally started. And then during the pandemic, like, I couldn't do as much in-person stuff. Like, the whole nonprofit kind of changed at that point. And so at that point, I was really starting to pay attention to the rising suicide rates. And I went back to the board and said, like, it's great what we're doing, and it's meaningful, but it's not saving lives. And so we changed it. So now, the organization is 100% focused on mental health and suicide prevention for veterans and first responders. And we do it on a 4-pillar system. And so the first one's connection. How do you rebuild the brotherhood and sisterhood bond? How do you keep people not self-isolating? Because they feel like people don't understand what they're going through. And, I've been blessed because people are willing to work with me and open up to me, even though I didn't serve myself, which can be a struggle. Like, there's a lot of vets that don't want to talk to somebody who didn't serve themselves. So, our organization's been blessed in that matter. And then the second one's empower. That's your food, housing. That's where we put veteran benefits. We didn't get rid of it. We just moved it into its own its own compartmentalized.
I see. Yeah.
And then we added childcare. And I never thought, I'm never going to add childcare. But then I had a couple who the husband and wife served, and the husband was super suicidal, and she couldn't take him to the hospital because she had to watch her kids.
Wow.
And she reached out to me, and I'm like, man, we got to come up with childcare.
Yeah.
And then our third one is align. So if we can solve 1 and 2, then you can get someone in a fight or flight mode. And you can't start a healing journey if they're still in fight or flight mode. So that's
Right.
why we start with those two. And then the third one, we do alternative therapies like EMDR, PTSD service dogs, equine therapy, yoga,
Right.
things like that. And then the last one is Thrive, and that's vets and first responders giving back in their own communities. So that's kind of how the nonprofit evolved.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's super important mission.
Absolutely, yeah, and what a great mission too. And I like how you read what was happening, you saw what was going on, you were able to make that adjustment, and still really kind of fulfilling the first objective, as well, but encompassing more of helping the veteran PTSD thing. That's good.
Yeah, and the other thing that it allowed me to do was get more involved with partnering with also other nonprofits,
Mm,
and that's because most nonprofits pick an area of focus,
hmm. Right.
or they exclude. I'll cover a combat vet, but I won't cover somebody who wasn't a combat vet or something like that. Like
Yeah, yeah,
there's usually some kind of thing to hone down to only a certain caliber of people that they want to cover. Where
yeah.
I'm taking a whole holistic approach to veteran and first responder mental health and suicide prevention. And so to do that, one organization can't do it by themselves. So I
True.
proactively partner with for-profit and nonprofit organizations that are making meaningful impact, and
Hmm.
we actually put their programs through some evaluation before we're willing to make them a partner. Where it's not,
Okay.
you can't just come to us and say, "Hey, we want you to use our services." It doesn't
Yeah.
work like our long-term vision. We're not there yet, but we made a partnership with a gal who she has gotten multiple bills through Congress based on her research in the health industry, and
Hmm.
made a partnership with her. And our long-term vision is she's going to do the clinical third-party research on these different programs. And our long-term vision is to go to Congress and trying to push them to reallocate some VA budget. And the reason why that's so important for the people that are listening that are not familiar, and I'm going to use some older stats because I haven't gone and reread the latest budget, because
Yeah.
these stats come out of the congressional budget. So if you go research the congressional budget, you can get the latest updates on the numbers. But
Right.
in 2020, which is around when I refocused into that's why I know the stats so well, is because that's kind of partly what drove. But in 2020, Congress gave the VA, they gave them $15 million for veteran mental health specifically. Of
Okay.
of that, 7 billion of that went to pharmaceutical companies. And at the time, there was 1.6 million calls to the suicide crisis line, and they anticipated for 2021 it would go up to 2.3 million calls. So they were admitting, hey, there's a problem here.
Yeah.
And the problem is, like, I'm not saying there's not a place for pharmaceutical drugs. There is, like, stabilize somebody.
Yeah.
But the average vet gets put on 10 plus drugs.
Yeah.
That's not stabilizing. That's different. So stabilize, get them into alternative natural therapies, and get their life in a healthy place and not sitting on these drugs their whole life.
Right. Yeah, that's a very good point, and that happens a lot. I mean that's happens with military doctors. On active duty when you go in, it's kind of the same thing. They're like, "Oh, yeah, here's some medicine. You'll be all right." I think things are starting to change, which is good. We're moving in the right direction. But yeah, I like,
Yeah, VA by VA. It's not changing across the board, but there's certain VAs that are testing different things right now.
true. Yeah, yeah, that's very true. I've been lucky with the VA here. I go to the one in Fort Smith, Arkansas. It's a smaller clinic, but out of Fayetteville, Arkansas, and so far so good. They've been very polite. They call me on the phone. They checked up on me. They've done everything that they needed to do, and I'm very appreciative for it. So I've been lucky and blessed for that.
How far is that from where you are in Oklahoma, Arkansas?
Fayetteville is about 2 hours, 1.5, 2 hours, something like
Not
that.
bad.
Yeah, it's not. And then Fort Smith is my primary where I would go because that's like a satellite clinic. So that's 40 minutes, maybe something like that.
I guess that would be closer than going into Texas or something.
Yeah, and the other closest one is Muskogee, so that's like halfway between here and Tulsa. So it's hit or miss. Some people have really good success with the VA, and then others there's no success at all. I
Like I
mean,
said,
it's really hit or miss.
by VA, it's some are doing really incredible work, and some
Mhm.
they're probably. I always give them the benefit of the doubt. They're just probably overloaded.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, that's true. Now, if you don't mind, could you just speak to a little bit of, because we're talking about alternative medication and different things like that, and you named off a couple of them, but have you seen good success with those alternative stuff?
Yes, we have. It shouldn't be my computer, but I'm going to double check. I put it in Do Not Disturb. Hold on. I want to make sure the audio is good on here. And yeah, I'm on Do Not Disturb, so I don't know what it is. Yes, and one of the ones that we probably focus the most on,
Hmm.
uh, and it has a lot of proven success with, is service dogs. Uh,
Hmm.
in service dogs, it actually, on average, will reduce suicide ideation between like 85 and 93%. And
Wow.
that's consistent across, other ones. We use different things in different ways. So like I mentioned, equine therapy. We
Hmm.
only we only use equine therapy in one sense. Like we don't do a full broad program. The way we use equine therapy is for couples. So
Oh,
um,
wow.
so like you have somebody, a vet that the husband or wife served and they're dealing with PTSD and it's affecting their relationship and their marriage.
Right.
We use it with the couple to help the couple work through things as a couple and become stronger in their marriage. And we have one of the only partners in the country that can also do EMDR, which is a light therapy that's super
Hmm.
proven for trauma, that can do EMDR while they're on the back of the horse. So you get dual benefit.
Oh,
It's
wow.
super, super cool. So that one we're super focused on. But we do probably more service dogs. And also the other reason we focus on service dogs is the average place to go get a service dog. It's you're on a 3 to 5 year waiting list, and
Hmm.
it's at least $25,000.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely ridiculous. We can do it. We can generally get someone placed in a service dog within 1 or 2 months, uh, assuming there's funding to cover it. I mean, we're a nonprofit, so it always is based on funding.
Right.
Assuming there's
Absolutely.
funding to cover it, we can usually get a dog within 1 to 2 months, and we cover 100%. There is no cost
Oh,
to it.
wow.
Um, and we know what it costs, and when people are charging $25,000, it makes me sick.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
it doesn't cost that to train a dog. Um, so those are kind of some of the ones that we focus a lot. EMDR is amazing.
I've
You know,
heard good things about it.
for trauma, any type of trauma. I don't care. Veteran, first responder or not, just a general
Right.
person. You have some kind of major trauma in your life, look into EMDR. It's amazing.
Hmm. Yeah, I've definitely heard good things. I've talked to a couple of vets that have actually done it, and they highly praised it. So nothing but good things from what I've heard.
Yeah, and I'm not against even some. We don't do it through our organization, but there's some people who do like plant medicine, like
Yeah.
ayahuasca or marijuana and things like that. Like it's
Hmm.
not something we're in, but I've referred people who want to get into that with groups that do. Like for me,
Hmm.
I just want to see someone heal,
Right.
and so I'm not closed minded, and that's one thing I actually am thankful with some VAs is like marijuana. Some of them are becoming more open of like trying it versus it used to be if you got raided and then you were using like marijuana or something and they found out and it was making a positive impact, they would take away your rating. They're
Yeah.
being a little more friendly, which is good. You don't want to get your rating bumped because you're doing something.
Yeah. That's a good point. Now, when you send vets to these different places, is it like when you do the for the dogs, the equine, is that all local where you're at, or are you sending them to different places?
So the partner that we work with on the service dogs, they have 98 locations across the U.S. So we can generally get pretty close to where somebody lives. They actually
Okay.
have to train for a couple of months with the dog. So it's not like you just go pick it up and it's trained, because the human has to be trained as well. Uh,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, the dog's going to lose all of its commands and memory, because the human doesn't understand
Hmm.
what they need to do to ensure it keeps its training.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not a one and done. Like, they have to train with it for a little while. And
Hmm.
they also can do temperament testing. Like, some people come to us and say, "Hey, I've already got a dog. Can we train my dog?" Possibly. We have to do a temperament training and make sure that that dog, can qualify as a service dog. Not all
Right.
dogs can, but if they can, sure, we'll train your existing dog too.
Yeah, that's really cool. I got a buddy down in Texas, a guy I had on the podcast before, but he has been trying to get into to a school. I think it's in Colorado, where they actually teach them how to train the service dogs. And he wants to do it and help people out in a sense because it's so expensive. He wants to be able to do it for a cheaper way to get it to the vets quicker, type of thing, or easier, I should say.
Yeah, I have two partners. One's in Texas, but then I have the other one that has like 98 locations. The
Hmm.
big partner, they do a really cool program. So their 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 primary business is training service dogs for, like, the wealthy.
Yeah,
um, some of their stuff can get pretty expensive, but they franchise, so that's how they have so many locations. Well,
yeah.
they have a requirement with all their franchise that they have to train X amount of dogs for free. Uh,
Wow.
that can nonprofits can pull from, and
Uh-huh.
so yeah, it's good because it's a requirement. If you're going to be a franchisee, you have to be willing to donate so much time and energy into training these service dogs to help the people who need it through nonprofit stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. Man. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about with the Veterans Connection or?
um I don't know if there's not necessarily anything else on that. I mean, I would just say, you know if you're struggling, you can reach out to us, or if you know whether it's something we can help you with, or we can refer you to somebody else, or we just want to make sure that people are getting help. And so
Yeah.
that's my big message with the Veterans Connection. Is it was really created based on my own understanding of physical and mental pain, and knowing what it's like to be suffering mentally. And you know that's the last thing I want people to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the best way they can find everything is on the website. So just go there, theveteransconnection.org, and
Yeah, it's
they'll,
important to notice the S in the veteran. Some people try typing in the veteran connection, but yeah,
yeah,
it's plural, the veteransconnection.org.
I should have capitalized it. That
Totally
might have
good.
helped. Oh, okay.
It's
Well,
just people's nature to, we actually registered the veteran connection first, and then I was like, well, this organization's for vets, so I'm gonna add an S.
I like it. Yeah. That's good. No, it's good to know with an S. So anybody out there that needs to reach out, that's how you get them. And then it has like email and all that type of stuff where they can get in contact with your phone or something of that
Yeah,
nature.
it has that. It has a form that you can fill out where it'll ask you like what services you're looking to get help in. So you
Mhm.
select the service and then fill out the form, and that way it gets routed based on what you're looking for help on.
Yeah. Very cool. I like it. Well, I guess we can move on. You want to go talk about the 22 salute, or do you want to talk about the Eric Ranks, or where do you want to go from here?
Uh, I mean, all I'll say about Eric Ranks, we don't need to spend a lot of time. All I would say is that's kind of a hub.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, like if you're trying to find the Veterans Connection, or you want to find 22 Salute, or
Mhm.
you're interested in checking out some of the books or some of the other companies. I mean, I've founded 6 companies,
Oh, wow.
and so there's some other ones on there. But my real passions that I focus most of my energy on is 22 Salute and the Veterans Connection. Uh,
Mhm.
why those are the ones listed, but that's kind of just a central hub, ericranks.com. And it's probably the easiest way to get hold of me personally
Yeah.
versus, the other ones I have teams around it.
Yeah. 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 Very
So,
nice. Okay.
22 Salute, yeah, we can jump into that. So, how 22 Salute came about
Mhm.
is, it's kind of interesting, and it's going to sound strange, but I'll explain.
I'm all
Um,
about strange. That's good.
So, 22 Salute is a spirits and coffee brand,
Mhm.
and it's focused on veteran mental health and suicide prevention. It was originally created to self-fund the nonprofit because
Oh.
uh, when you're trying to partner with other nonprofits, like which I go out of my way to do on the Veterans Connection,
Mhm.
at first people are kind of skittish because they feel like we're all pulling from the same donor dollars. They're like, "Oh no, I don't
Mhm.
want to work with you because you'll take away our donations." That's
Right.
not my goal. My goal is to help somebody. I don't care if
Mhm.
the money comes into my organization or someone else's. I just want someone to get help.
Right.
Um, so part of the way to take away that resistance is like, hey, we got money coming in from something else. So I
Mhm.
created it as a for-profit to fund nonprofit work, and now we've given back to a lot of different organizations, not just that
Very
one,
nice.
and children's hospitals as well, which is completely out of
Oh,
the
wow.
what work. But we've given money to children's hospitals in 4 states the last couple of years in a row. So
No kidding. That is great.
yeah, and partly that's in my heart. A kid
Yeah.
had leukemia. Like, granted, I was at Bethesda Naval Hospital, which anybody who's younger knows that name. I mean, older knows that name.
Yeah.
Anyone who's younger knows it as Walter Reed.
Yeah. Walter Reed. Yeah.
Same exact hospital, but the name changed.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was Bethesda Naval Hospital. And I was actually there. Actually, it was actually kind of cool. So we landed right next to Air Force One because when I was there, Ronald Reagan was in the hospital at the same time. Uh,
No kidding.
yeah, so that's kind of
Wow.
cool. But I do remember landing next to Air Force One.
That's
Um,
cool.
I didn't get to see Reagan though. They didn't let me in that area.
I wonder why.
I wonder why. Um, but anyway, so why I'm saying 22 Salute is kind of weird is it it has an alcohol brand and it's focused on mental health. So
Yeah.
so to some extent, people are like, well, why the hell would you do that?
Mhm.
And how that came about is I attend as much as I can. I used to attend a lot more, but my schedule has gotten busier. But I do weekly masterminds with several veteran entrepreneurs. Uh,
Mhm.
and I'm super ingrained in that community and helping in a lot of different areas, even outside of 22 Salute and the Veterans Connection.
Mhm.
And in the mastermind, there was 2 people, one that owned a coffee company and another one that was in the spirits industry. And they're like, and I was like, guys, I want to create some kind of for-profit company. And both of them are like, hey, have you thought of these products? And I'm like, no. And the alcohol had a lot of resistance. I'm like, no, like I won't go anywhere near it. I've been since 2012. I've been focused on mental health.
Yeah.
I can't ruin my branding and my image on that side.
Yeah.
And then it just sat and spun in my mind for like 2 or 3 months,
Mhm.
um, and then it clicked. Something very unique clicked, and I realized that on alcohol, if it's being abused in the wrong way, people are going to go buy it with or without me. Like,
Yeah, true.
I'm not influencing whether they buy it, but I can actually influence if they don't buy it. So, we're the first spirits company to add the suicide crisis line on all of our bottles.
Nice.
We tell a very clear suicide message on our products, and we do a lot of education on that space as well. And my goal is, and we're taking a suicide message to the retail public. We're on retail shelves like with Kroger and Total Wine and a lot of liquor store chains and all kinds of things, like in bars. And if you're
on bases as well, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. And if you're a vet, you probably understand the 22 number, which is the average 22 suicides every day in the veteran community. So on top of that, if you're in the military, you probably even recognize the logo without even having to look at the bottle. Okay, that has something to do with suicide. But my goal is if somebody's abusing alcohol and they see our brand, then they'll realize, hey, you know what? My life actually matters. And they won't buy ours or anyone else's. They'll call that number and get help. Like, don't buy anyone's alcohol. Don't abuse it. Like, yes, I'm a for-profit company trying to fund a nonprofit, but a dollar to me is not worth someone's life. Like, don't buy it. Go get help. And so I said, hey, I can take this on in a way that nobody else is doing. I have a chance to get in front of them when they're darkest hour and say, hey, go get help. Go get help.
Yeah.
There's a lot of alcohol companies that will slap drink responsibly on the label, and that's just because they have to. But they don't care. They just want to sell a product. I took a step further and added the suicide crisis line. Like, I'm saying, drink responsibly. Like, for me, it's real. And the brand was created. There's also a lot of companies out there that sell products with a mission because they feel like it helps marketing. They don't really care. Like, great, I help dogs, or great, I help vets, or great, I help, like, all kinds of different causes out there. And there's great causes, but they're doing it just as a branding, where for me, I created it because I needed a vehicle to fund nonprofit work. So for me, it wasn't branding. It was the mission came first. It was super personal to me. And I just needed a way to increase my impact on the nonprofit side by funding it myself.
That's really cool. It makes total sense to me. And because there's a lot of veterans that drink and don't have issues. I drink and I don't have any issues.
Alcohol can be great. It's just some people shouldn't be taking it. Like,
absolutely.
It can be a great social thing. If you can drink responsibly, I'm not saying alcohol is bad. I'm just saying if you're using it wrong, we have a chance to tell them stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's a good thing. Especially, I like what you were saying. You have the number right there on the bottle and a message that says, if you need help, go get it. That to me is incredibly powerful. I mean, that shows, and at their darkest hour, I mean, that could be the last bottle that they have, before they decide to commit suicide. And if they see that, well, at least it's a thought, and hopefully pushes them in that direction.
Yeah. Just make a call. It's not that hard. Like, or reach out to the Veterans Connection, or, on 22 Salute and the Veterans Connection, both of the websites at the bottom. You click one button on from your cell phone web browser, it will auto call the suicide line. You click another button, it will automatically formulate the text message, which will start a text conversation with them. Like, we have all of these. You can click a button and it'll pull up a chat with them. Like, we have all these ways to make it one button, quick access to get help.
Yeah, that's awesome. And they do a great job. That is one thing that I think the VA has done really well is that number, number and text and all that type of stuff. But everyone I've talked to, every time somebody like they've called or somebody else has called, pick up right away, and they're on it. They're helping them right away.
And it's getting better. I mean, I've heard more and more positive feedback as it's gone. I mean, it's getting better. Like people are being trained better.
Yeah,
The number overall isn't that old.
yeah,
Relatively, but so it's going to keep getting better and better as there's more experience on how to deal over the phone with some of these situations.
right. Yeah. Wow. And so with 22 Salute, they can buy that pretty much anywhere at this point.
Yeah. So the alcohol on our website, you can click, and we ship to 46 states.
Oh, wow.
There's only 4 states we don't ship to. And then it was 47, and then Tennessee decided to put a block. So now it's 46. And then we're on retail shelves in 14 states right now. And
Nice.
then we've got some AAFES locations. We've got some this month. We just launched in several Marine Corps exchanges, both our coffee and alcohol.
Wait, which exchanges were you at? Was it like East Coast, West Coast?
Both also, not just East Coast and West Coast, but also Hawaii and Japan as well.
Wow. That's big. That's awesome.
So great partnership with the Marine Corps. So it's and the military thing will keep growing. We didn't start there. So I could have done what a lot of veteran brands do, and they just focus on marketing to the military.
Mm-hmm.
I purposely didn't start that way. We didn't really start focusing, like reaching out to military, until really this year. And the reason being is because I didn't want to be seen as that's our target audience, because our target audience is not the veteran. Our target audience is the general public, to help us support and help the veterans.
Yeah.
So I didn't want it to be seen as, oh, we're going to go and we're going to go get all these veterans to buy alcohol and then try to help with mental health. Like, that's not my focus. Is let's go educate the general public about this 22 number, which is actually a BS number anyways. The Department of Defense says 22, but it's the research behind it says 40 to 60 a day. But unfortunately, the DoD doesn't want to use that number, and I understand why.
Yeah.
But it's a very somber number, even at 22. And so I purposely did not focus on military exchanges at the beginning. But then everybody kept saying, "Hey, how come you're not on base? How come you're not on base?" Okay, fine.
Yeah.
We'll go to the base. I think it was good that we built some footing in some big retailers like Kroger and stuff like that ahead of that, because it's not easy to get into the military exchanges.
True. Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's not easy to get into like a Kroger either. We got super lucky that we happen to know, and he lives local to us, and we know him. Like the number 2 or 3 person all the way up at the very top of Kroger. And so when he heard about our mission, like, we didn't even know what he did for a job. We just knew he works out at the same gym. And so, you know, just somebody, from the gym, and you don't really, you just kind of, and he's really big into UFC. And I took one of my co-founders to, have you ever heard of Burbiz? It's a veteran nonprofits that they do. There's a thing called Burbiz, and I took him to the Las Vegas one that they had. I mean, they do them in DC, they do them all over.
Okay.
I took him to the Las Vegas one, and Randy Couture and Misa Tate from UFC were there, and one of my co-founders got a bunch of pictures with them, and he was showing this guy in the gym, and the guy's like, what were you doing with those people? Like, how did that come out? Oh, he's like, oh, me and my buddy are launching this alcohol and coffee brand. and we're doing it to help with vets and first responder mental health and suicide prevention. And the guy's like, do you know what I do? And my buddy's like, I don't even know your name.
That's typical Jim friends right there. You don't even know their names.
I don't even know your name. And the dude's like, dude, I'm this person at Kroger, and he's like, because of your mission, I will launch you nationwide.
Wow.
And at that time, and this is how crazy it is. At that time, we hadn't even produced any product. Like normally,
wow,
test the product, see your sales numbers, all that kind of stuff. We hadn't done anything.
Wow, you talking about somebody looking out for you? I mean, that 100%. Yeah.
And we were like super crushed for time. Like he wanted to launch us with like 2 to 3 weeks, and we hadn't even produced anything.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's wild.
But it's good because it's allowed us to learn what works and hasn't worked, and
right.
It also allowed us to prove sales numbers and stuff. So it allows us to take that information and I was able to take that to the military. And the Marine Corps is super cool because as you already know, it's the 250th anniversary of the Marine Corps.
Ah, that it is, yeah. It's
also the 250th anniversary for others that are watching this to honor you guys as well for the Navy and also for the
we don't talk about those. We don't talk about those. Ours is the important one.
Everybody at the Air Force and Space Force, they don't get their 250 right now. But
oh, poor guys.
But it's actually interesting. I didn't actually know that. Like when I learned it was the 250th anniversary, I was like, okay, it's really cool that these military branches have a 250th anniversary a year before United States has its 250th, because next year is United States 250th.
Correct. Yeah.
So the Marine Corps, they formed it in that bar a year before the United States was created.
You know what? I don't know if you know this, but in Philadelphia is where it was founded, right? In Tun Tavern. And they're rebuilding Tun Tavern only like 100 yards from the original spot. So the original spot, they built a highway over it. So there's a placard that's there. And then there's the new one that's coming up. And they're actually raising funds and stuff to try and get it done by the by the birthday of the Marine Corps. I don't know if they'll get to that point, but they're trying.
November.
Yeah. It ain't that far away. So
no, November 10th will come quick. And so what something cool that we're doing, why I brought up the 250th anniversary is, and I don't know, I have to go look, but I'm guessing we will be the only brand that did this. We actually put special labeling on our packaging, congratulating the Marine Corps on their 250th anniversary.
Wow.
And so I think it'll help our brand stick out on the exchange. Like we're the only ones that are recognizing, hey, congratulations.
Yeah, no kidding.
50 years is a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I did know about the tavern and all that. So one of the bars that we're in, it's in Las Vegas called Leathernecks. It's the oldest currently running Marine-owned bar in the country. And they also have a mini museum, a Marine Corps museum in the bar. And so I've learned a ton from those guys.
Nice.
They love our brand and they've been super supportive. And it's also an American Legion post. And
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So,
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. If you're in Vegas, you got to go find the Leatherneck Club.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I most definitely will. Hopefully I can get there soon.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and I'm not just saying it because they're cool people. Like, honestly, they're the best burgers and the best Cajun fries in Vegas. I've
really
all over Vegas, cheap places, expensive places, like anywhere I go, like it's the best.
Very nice.
Guy owns it. He goes by Ghost. Anyone in the military, probably if they hear that name, knows he's been through some stuff, but
yeah, that's true. Well, shoot, man, I'm gonna have to hook up with that guy, have him tell some stories. I bet you he's got something.
Yeah, Ghost is
talk talk about the bar and everything. It'd be cool.
For
But
sure.
yeah. Anything else that we missed we want to cover?
Um, I mean, I would say not necessarily we missed. For the, I guess before I say what I was going to say, for those who like of those 14 states and things like that, if you're looking for local, go check on 22salute.com. We have a store locator.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you can find it locally in your area if we're there yet. We're coming, we're growing. We're CPG brands. You know, I didn't realize this till I got into it. I learned the hard way. I don't know if I would have launched a CPG brand if I knew it ahead of time. But I know a lot of CPG founders now from doing this for basically 3 years. I'm really big about doing like masterminds and networking and stuff with people.
Yeah.
And so with all the ones it's consistent. Like it's a super, super expensive business to be in.
Yeah,
Super
I imagine
expensive.
so.
So I guess the other thing I would mention is, you know, if 22 Salute sounds like something that you want to be part of, we are currently actively fundraising as well. And so, you know, you can reach out to us. You know, that's definitely something where in the last 2.5 years, we have put in we've self-funded it basically to this point, and we put in almost $500,000. If that gives you an idea how expensive the business is.
Yeah.
And we would be in a lot more states already, but I refuse to expand faster than we have money for and put myself out of business. So
Smart.
we have retailers pushing us to expand much faster, and we're the ones slowing it down.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't do it. Like, because the part of the other problem is not only the production, the cost of the products, but it's also the other thing I did is I chose two of the most competitive things you could be in: alcohol and coffee. Like two of the most competitive things you could possibly be in. And and people, no, nobody walks into like a grocery store and says, "Hey, I'm going to go try something new today." Like you walk in already knowing what you're going to go buy. So we have to pay people to sample our products, and it's a fortune. It's a fortune.
Wow.
You know, just for someone to sit in a grocery store for 3 hours, you know,
Oh man,
$160 to $200. And if you're doing that across, you know, we're in 460 locations. You start doing that to each location, you know, a couple times a month. You're spending a lot per month on.
Yeah, you are.
But lips to mouth is the best way to convert. A cool thing that I'll share, and then I'll move off 22 Sleep. But a cool thing I'll share. So this is super, super humbling, it keeps me grounded, and it helps me always recognize like the importance of what that brand is actually doing. So I just mentioned we spend a lot of money doing demos in states that allow it. Not all do. Like I'm in Utah, you can't sample anything in Utah. So it's state by state, but the states we can, and I'll use Nevada because that's our largest market. We do a lot of business in Nevada. When I go personally, because I can't always go be there when someone's doing samplings. When I am there, I've had this experience multiple times, which is someone will walk through, like, you know, we'll use Kroger in Nevada, their brand. Kroger goes under a bunch of banners. So some people may say, "Oh, I don't have a Kroger in my area." You may, it's just under a different name. So in Nevada, it's under Smith's Food and Drug. And, you know, someone will walk into a Smith's, you know, maybe going to buy, you know, a loaf of bread and, you know, a peanut butter jelly, who knows, going to go buy something.
Yeah.
And then they run into our sampling table, and they ask us what's this brand about? And I tell them the story, and I literally can't tell you. Sorry, I'm going to try not to get emotional.
It's all right.
I literally can't tell you how many times people literally walk up, not even ask, just give me a massive hug and say, thank you. And here's how mental health, or here's how suicide affected me or something in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And and then we have people who say, hey, I don't drink, but I'm going to buy this product and give to someone because I want to support what this is about, because this is how it affected me.
Wow.
And to know that, and they're in tears, like they're
Mm-hmm.
hugging and they're in tears, like I'm trying not to be. They're literally
Right.
in tears and sharing, like pouring out their heart of how they got affected. And I don't know any other product that you can give someone an emotional reaction when they walk into like a grocery store. Nobody
Mm.
expects that.
Yeah.
Nobody, everybody expects get in and out. And, but every time that happens and I get to experience, and people who demo for us, they reach out to us all the time. Hey, this is what happened to me too. And
Wow.
it's just really humbling to know that even outside of the fact that we're trying to help have people call the suicide crisis line, even on top of that, just what our brand represents
Mm-hmm.
is making an impact to that person in that moment.
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
and it's super, super humbling.
It's incredible. It's a noble cause. It's incredible that you're doing it, and I'm glad that you guys are seeing results from it in a sense of, people saying thank you, and you get to see that, because a lot of times you don't get to see the end result. So I'm glad you get to see some of that.
We're super engaged. There's only 3 of us. We don't have any employees. There's 3 of us, the original 3 co-founders, and we're still one of those companies that, I'm the co-founder and CEO, and you'll still see me in a grocery store or a liquor store, or
Yeah.
like, or I'm going to a golf tournament, like the Marine Corps League golf tournaments and things like that. Like, we're still a brand that we're personal. We're
Hmm.
not this corporate brand that you don't know and get to experience the people running the company.
Yeah, absolutely.
I live, I talk about it super competitive, the 2 markets.
Hmm.
Coffee, second highest traded commodity in the world.
I did not
Very,
know that.
yeah, very competitive. It's only second to gasoline. Oil is the only thing that beats coffee. Coffee's number 2.
Well, priorities. It makes sense.
I know you got your fuel, and then, but here in Salt Lake, this is the home base for Black Rifle Coffee.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Um, I know the owners, super nice people,
Hmm.
and they've even been affected by it. One of their owners committed suicide.
Mm.
But where I was going with that is Black Rifle's actually, to some extent, lately made our life even easier, because they became corporate. They went public, and when they went public, the feel that
Mm.
and and coffee shops and stuff feel from them is not the same. And
Wow.
so we have lots of people who are like, hey, we did really well selling Black Rifle, and then we stopped enjoying it when they became just corporate, where they
Yeah.
didn't care about the mission, veteran missions and helping and stuff like they used.
Hmm.
And all fairness, like, it's not because they've changed, the owners changed. It's because when you're a publicly traded company, you have to answer to shareholders. So uh,
Mm.
I don't think it's a change that necessarily the owners said, hey, let's change, but
Right.
publicly traded. And so that's an advantage to us, is, like I said, like, we're still there. We're a mom pop company. Like,
Yeah.
we're not answering to anyone else. Like, there's no shareholders. So you get the raw, you get us being actually there. You get,
Hmm.
we're not too big for ourselves.
Nice. Yeah, I like it. I like what you
I have
got going
nothing
on
bad
with
to
it.
say about Black Rifle. Like I said, I know the guys in there. It's a great company. It's just publicly
I
traded.
I drink I drink their
We
coffee.
traded, made our life easier.
They make good coffee. I'm not going to complain. So, but I'll have to try some of your coffee.
Well, if
I'm a
you're,
coffee guy. I like coffee. I
yeah,
like spirits. I'm gonna have to try it all out.
yeah. I mean, and I don't know if you have a lot of Oklahoma listeners, since that's where you're based out of. I will give kind of a nugget to them as well. Pay attention to my social media next year. We have something really big coming to Tulsa, and it will be annual. It's not a one-time deal. It will involve a 5-time world kickboxing champion. He's always grew up in Oklahoma. He got into martial arts because he got bullied really bad growing up. He's African American, and Tulsa, Oklahoma wasn't always friendly to Black people. In fact, you have Black
Yeah,
Wall Street that happened there.
that's
Uh,
right.
and so he had to learn martial arts just to defend himself, and became a 5-time world kickboxing champion, undefeated.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, he has a retirement fight next year. That's going to help kick off it's going to be a festival. We're going to have some pretty major music artists in a couple of different genres. We're going to have just all kinds of things. Like,
Hmm.
it's going to be fun, but it's going to be annual. So there'll be fights
Nice.
every year, but they won't be him, because once he retires, he retired.
Yeah.
But he and I and a couple other people are starting. You talk about nonprofit work. We're
Hmm.
starting another nonprofit
Oh,
um,
wow.
called Rise, and he founded it. But basically, it's so I've all the years I've learned about how to help with mental health, but I've been really zoned in on veteran and first responders.
Right.
And he's lived a life. And I actually, as a kid, got bullied too, but
Hmm.
I didn't become a world kickboxing champion. but he's really passionate about the mental health too, from the bullying. And so
Hmm.
he's going to announce maybe I'm giving too much information, but basically,
You better hold on to something.
he's going to announce that he's taking the fight from the ring to schools and things like that, and we're going to
Oh,
help.
very cool.
So I'm going to take my expertise and apply it to children. We're going to go
Yeah,
to schools and things like that and help kids with bullying and mental health and suicide and all that kind of stuff. So
that's awesome.
stay tuned for next year, because there's a lot coming, and it's going to kick off in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So,
Man, and that's right up the road for me. I'm going to be there for sure.
you better
But
be.
yeah, trust me, I'm going to be there. Rain or shine. I just, like I said, an hour and a half, 2 hours for me. So that's an easy drive.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll be there.
it's going to be a really good time. They actually had another planning meeting for it today, and I was on a conflicting call, so I couldn't get onto it. But it's moving fast. It's going to be incredible. And if you're in the veteran community, I mean, I assume because you have vets at least once a week, you have a lot of vet listeners. If you want to network, good places to network this year, in September 21st through 24th, there's Military Influencer Conference. It's in Atlanta this year. It's moved a couple times. It's in Atlanta. It's the largest influencer conference for military. And then in Las Vegas, October 23rd through 26th, I got a event board on the side that I keep.
Yeah, it's all good.
That's MCON, and it's the largest celebration of military in the country.
Oh, wow.
This is their 3rd year. Mick is a lot older than that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I for sure will be at MCON, possibly at Mick, but even if I'm not at one or the other, like, if you want to network with other military people, go check out those events. Like, I think it's really important that people get involved with their tribe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Well, Eric,
Yeah,
you're awesome.
I ran over your time.
I don't have a time limit. We can talk for hours. It is what it is. But no, thanks for coming on and doing this, man. It's great, and I'm very thankful that I saw your post and I reached out and I was like, hey, I'm gonna reach out to this dude and see what happens. And you replied almost immediately, so thank you.
No, for sure. Like I said, I'm super engaged. This is not some corporate thing where you can't get in front of the owners of the company. Like, I'm super engaged, and it's humbling when I get to come on and talk about my passion, which is mental health and suicide prevention. And there's a lot of good organizations out there. I'm not ever saying we're the only ones. So like, you can go get help from anyone, but if you're suffering, like, reach out to us or somebody else. And that's not just in the military community and first responder community. It's just those are pretty consistent numbers. But mental health is a big deal across in our world.
It doesn't discriminate either. It doesn't. Everybody gets something,
And the other thing that, like, I want to throw out a fallacy. You don't have to have been through something extremely traumatic to have PTSD.
Very true.
There's people who even on the military side, there's people who never saw a single day of combat, but they have PTSD. Or they had a sexual trauma in the military, or there's all kinds of things. But that's in regular life too. So outside of those communities, don't think, if you think maybe I have symptoms of PTSD or mental health or something like that, but you think I haven't done anything, like, there's no reason I should have them. That is a real thing, and go get help. Like, don't think you have to be strong. That's a military problem. And I think
it is. Yeah.
And it's a male thing, in military, nobody wants to be the weak one and tell somebody, hey, you got to pull me off duty because I've got some issues. Like, nobody wants to be a person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's my message, is regardless of what community you're in, like I said, not unique. I think COVID made that more easily to talk about with the general population, because everybody during COVID, it's like, oh yeah, everybody's isolated and mental health is skyrocketing.
Yeah.
So hopefully now you feel like you can talk about it more, whatever you're going through.
Things are getting better, and it's more relaxed. I won't say it's perfect, but it is getting better. I first joined in '99, and coming back from my first deployment, it's you didn't talk about it. You just pushed it aside and said, "Okay, time to move on," and that's what you did. But everybody has something.
Everybody has something. We talk about Talahala Project. They have a shirt that I actually own, that says on the front, "Be kind," and on the back it says, everybody's going through something, whether you know it or not. I don't remember exactly how it's worded, but roundabout, that's what it's saying. Like, everybody's going through something, like, so just be kind.
Yeah. And it makes sense.
I buy apparel from a lot of multiple veteran clothing brands, but there's none that get messaging so powerful than Talahala.
Yeah.
And then you have the complete opposite, like Grunt Style, who, great brand, but they built their brand off some pretty inappropriate things.
Their
messaging, is actually impactful on their.
It is, most definitely. Yeah. I'm lucky to be an ambassador for them, and also for the Marine Corps League. So I don't know. I'm blessed.
Now I'm waiting for you to be the next one to reach out. Hey, we've got a golf tournament coming up. I get those outreaches all the time. Hey, we got the Marine Corps League, and I'm like, I only can do so many of those on November 10th.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, Eric, thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing everything. For everybody out there, 22salute.com, the Veterans Connection. Don't forget the S, veteransconnection.org, and ericranks.com. Uh, Go check them all out. Yeah, it's been great having you.
And it's honestly, it's been a really good time. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Well, we've been talking about it the whole time, and I always close by saying this, but to everybody out there, if you're struggling and need help, don't forget the VA has great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. I know Eric cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you, so please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you served with. Ask them how they're doing, and if they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, Eric, one last time, man. Thank you.
Yeah, one. You made me think of something. I'm going to say it real quick.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Like he said, reach out to somebody. People suffer in silence.
Mm-hmm.
You think someone's doing well, your next door neighbor or something. You're like, oh yeah, he's doing fine, and then the next day they're just not there.
Right.
So, in the military they do this thing of, because not everyone who's watching this, I'm sure, in the military, but military they do this 22 push-up challenge.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, but 22 push-ups isn't going to save a life. Like, great,
absolutely.
Build a little awareness. It's not to. If you want to save someone's life, pick up the phone and call 22 people that you know.
Ooh, that's good.
No, it's true. Like,
it is. Yeah.
Connection's what saves lives. That's why it's our first pillar. And we also, it's kind of a weird thing. Again, we're back on alcohol, but I trademarked salute shots. And we also trademark with a purpose. So all of our stuff is with a purpose, but salute shots and our bottles are all 1 liter. And we don't do 750s or 1.75 and all that, like all the normal sizes. We don't do them. We only do 1 liter because there's 22 shots in a 1 liter bottle.
Oh.
And we trademark salute shots, and on the bottle it tells them, hey, gather 22 friends and family and do a salute shot together, because we want them to build that community. We don't want them to be drinking alone. We want them to reach out, build community. Like, that's how you save a life, is connect with the people around you.
I really like what you got going on. Man, you keep selling me on it and I'm already sold.
I mean, our vodka, so most vodka is filtered 1 to 3 times.
Yeah.
We filter it 22 times to honor the lives we lost that day. Like, everything we do is super purposeful. Like, we don't just, like,
that is incredible.
It takes us 2 extra days of filtering. So it's costing me money.
Yeah.
To filter it 22 times. But there's a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we make the only fig vanilla bourbon in the world.
Yeah.
And we have 14 coffee varieties, and 3 of them are smoked with a Texas mesquite wood while we roast them. And that's super unique too.
Whoa. Yeah.
That's done by a Navy vet. A Navy vet smokes our coffee. Wow. And our distillery is owned by a Navy veteran too. So
very cool, man. You're doing great things.
Yeah, just reach out to people. I totally sidetracked him ending this thing, but the moral of the story is literally people suffer in silence.
That is
reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Eric, one last time, man. Thanks for coming on and doing this. To all the listeners out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.